A really good question. A really, really relevant question. Um, what is the significance of this I to the speaker, to me, to this person, to this form, to this body, whatever I am? What is the significance of this I? What does it mean? What is the feeling of I, you see? Because everything is determined through feeling. When it's up here, it's not feeling, it's just information, it's knowledge, it's regurgitation of stuff. But what is the feeling of I, you see? You never point I up here. Yeah? Teacher says, who knows the answer to this question? You don't say, I do, miss. You say, I do, miss. I do, miss. I do, miss. Not I do. You see? So the significance of I to this speaker is that this I does not make any sense. There's no brain, mind, ego function that can make any sense of this I. And if you think about it in a very logical language, grammar way, what is there to make sense of, you see? But that's the whole inquiry. Why do I signify myself as I? You see? What does cat mean? You see, cat. You have a picture in your mind. You have a picture of a cat. Maybe a wild cat, maybe a big cat, maybe a pussy cat, maybe but it's got whiskers, it's got big eyes, it purrs, and it has fur. It's a cat. We know what a cat is. I know what a cat is, Mr. Speaker. You don't have to, play around with cats. Okay, so what does I mean? So why do we use I? What is the significance of I? What I mean, you see, whenever there's a discussion, and this body or this whatever this existing form is wants to get into discussion, always says I. I was thinking the other day, I knew that if there was a train to go from London to Newbury, I would know the timetable once I found out the destination and once I inquired. I. I mean, what is the point of giving ourselves a name? Yeah? Graham. Graham thinks there is a train from Newbury, and Graham has found out the time, and Graham will tell the time. Graham will pass on the information to the one that wants to know the information about the train that Graham knows about. I mean, what's the point? What's the point of not using the word Graham, but what is the point of giving this body the name Graham? My granddaughter, when she was very young, in school, the teacher had passed on to the parents. Let's say her name is, I'm not going to use her name, let's say her name is Joanne, okay? Teacher says, who knows the question? This is what the teacher passed on to the parents. Who knows the question? Who knows the answer to this question? And all the hands went up. Yeah. You don't have to show hands, children. Just shout out. Anyone here know the answer to the question? Joanne does, miss. Joanne, what is the answer? And Joanne gives the answer. Another. Who knows the answer to this question? Another child. I do, miss. Who knows the answer to this question? A boy. Me, miss. I know the answer, miss. And what about you? Yes, Joanne knows the answer. You don't have to say your name, Joanne. Why? It's my name. It took a long time for Joanne to actually identify herself with I and me. You see, it's a very simple thing. Very simple thing to mind. Why get perturbed about this? Why get disturbed about this? What's the problem? You see, whether it's I or me or you or him or her, kind of bad manners, is it? I mean, if God came and God's name was God, and you turn around to God and says, "Hey, you." I know about you, God. God would say, "What's your name?" My name is Graham. Oh. What does Graham want? Graham wants this. How has Graham acted in life? Graham has been good in some ways and bad in the other ways. See? Very formal but polite discussion. No, it's I. I. So that's why the speaker says, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense why we would use something that defines each one of us as this thing, this me, this object, this form. I know the answer, miss. Why that point, you see? Why this point? When you say, Graham knows, you don't say, Graham knows, because the whole of Graham is Graham. The whole of Graham is Graham. So Graham knows. You're opening up like Jesus did, opens his arms up. No one actually looks at the signification of Jesus opening his arms every time. Come into my kingdom. Not my kingdom. Come into my kingdom. Come meet my Father. I open my arms and invite you in. Come and meet my Father. See? How personal do we want to get with this I, me, and you? But Jesus said, the good thing, there cannot be a bad thing to use I and me and you. It cannot be completely bad. It is just something that we have been lazy. We've been completely lazy. Completely, can't be bothered saying my name, can't be bothered saying your name. But the point is, it's the beginning of the self-inquiry when you start. Me. Me. As Jesus said, through me, Jesus identified himself as me. Through me, says Jesus, I am the way. Through me, I will reveal the way. So Jesus was pointing at you to take the words and see if you can replicate the way. The religion thinks you have to feed the 5,000. You have to do miracles. You have to give sermons on the hill. That's what religion says about Jesus. That's what Jesus was saying. No, through my ways, my behavioral ways, you'll meet your true relationship with me, says Jesus. What Jesus was saying, he was sharing the words. But religion got lost, misinterpreted, not intentional. Because once you understand through me, you're me. What is the answer, Joanne, to the question? Do you know it? Yes, miss. Me, knows the answer. Me, knows the answer. Not me. Me, knows the answer. The answer is within. That's what Jesus says. Through me, through me, through me, through me, through me, not me. Through me, through me, through me, whatever me. I am the way. Through me, I am the way. You see how it's like a dance. Miss, hands down, John. Do you know the answer? Yes, miss, I know the answer. The answer is, I am the way. Good girl, John. You found the truth. You found the true answer. You found Jesus. Now you can replicate Jesus. Now you can behave like Jesus does. Now you can give. Now you can feed. Now you can create miracles. You're still not Jesus. You're still now you're following and the spiritual path. But you cannot follow a spiritual or religious path until you discover who I is. What I is. So the identifiable me person I, makes no sense to this one. But it makes sense. It makes true sense if it's seen clearly, seen through, and that we all look for, you see? That through me, I is the way. If you discover is, Jesus has done his work. But you cannot discover it through the words from another. You have to experience. You have to experience this I that makes no sense to the mind, makes no sense to the ego, but the ego lives by it. The ego wants it. The ego wants to keep it. The ego wants to be close to Jesus, but the ego is not entitled to this position of even coming close to the way. This makes no sense to your mind, but it makes complete sense to your I. Have you discovered what I truly means? Beyond the nonsensical I, beyond the I, me, the person, I am the joiner, I am the artist, I am the good guy, I am the bad guy, I am the depressed, I am the painful, I am the angry, I am the I. Ramana Maharshi says, deny I. Jesus says, go through I. Through I am the way.